I think many things can be done to reduce the no-do gap in health policies. What we see people doing the most are three things. So one is they're producing evidence briefs, and these are different from other types of research products in that they start with the policy challenge, and then they bring together all the relevant research about a problem, options, and implementation considerations. The second thing that we see people doing is convening policy dialogues, where they pre-circulate the evidence brief, but then bring together maybe 20 or 30 key policymakers, stakeholders from throughout the system, and researchers to talk through the same things, problem, options, implementation, but also to talk about next steps. So what does the Ministry of Health need to do? What do physicians need to do? And so on. The third thing that we see people doing is setting up rapid response units, because we know in the world of policy that you need to be able to respond very quickly. Rapid response services can provide answers in hours and days and weeks, whereas typically research projects take months and years. So many countries have now set these up. Those three things help a lot. The briefs give you the best available evidence, the dialogues put it in the context of the country, and the rapid response service provides a similar function but in a much reduced time frame. There's obviously other things that can be done as well. We also see people really pushing for a climate that supports research use, so people talking about the importance of using evidence. We see them engaging in priority setting so that they identify what the big issues are and try and address those issues. We also see them promoting what we call in English one-stop shops. So if your question, for example, is about the health system, then you would go to health systems evidence, and in 5 minutes you could find the best available evidence. We also see them building in prompts to decision making, so that if you're going to take anything up to the minister or to cabinet, you need to fill out a very simple form that says how you found and used evidence. All of those things together, I think, are helpful. Any one of them would solve a bit of the problem, but having them all function at the same time seems to make a big difference. Evidence-informed policy networks, EVIPNet, were initially started by the World Health Organization in response to the Mexico Summit on Health Research, which was held in 2004. There, the member states of the World Health Organization called for efforts to better bridge the worlds of research and policy and practice. And EVIPNet was the response. And it's an effort to bring together policymakers, stakeholders, and researchers to collectively in a given municipality or state or country use the best available evidence to try and inform policymaking. So EVIPNet now functions at the level of countries, and in Brazil we see it operating at the municipal and starting to operate at the state and national level, but we also see it in many other countries around the world. So we have regional groupings of EVIPNet. So EVIPNet Brazil is nested within EVIPNet Americas, and then we have the global entity, which is EVIPNet writ large, and that group tries to establish some common approaches, share experiences across groups, and oversee the monitoring and evaluation. The McMaster Health Forum is an initiative very much like EVIPNet. It's just when EVIPNet was set up, it was designed particularly to support low and middle income countries. And at the time, there was no mechanism for a high income country to call itself EVIPNet. But we were so inspired in Canada by EVIPNet that we set up the same initiative in our country, and we happened to call it the McMaster Health Forum.